Right now I'm standing outside the, I guess it's the West Chelsea Veterinary Hospital. People and their coned dogs are here, but I'm not here to talk about animal doctors. I'm here, I don't have that Wi-Fi protection mode on, so I hope the stream is working all right. This is a new phone. People who saw the broadcast on Sunday are going to recall that it was plagued by a number of bizarre technical problems that I can't explain. One of the reasons those problems went unnoticed is that my phone that I used to control this setup failed moments before I was set to leave. So I had to swap in another phone to control it, and without getting too technical, that phone did not allow me to directly monitor the audio in the way that I am now, in the way that I normally do. So I've been forced to purchase a new phone, couldn't fix the other one, and I'm back to monitoring the audio. Now, a lot of people suggested that perhaps it was deliberate interference with the broadcast, that we got this repeating audio. Charles and I were over there at the Alice in Wonderland statue. We were talking about phallus in Wonderland. We focused on Bill Clinton, his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's relationship to Bill Gates, Bill Gates' relationship to the World Health Organization and his mission to vaccinate the world that has resulted in vaccine injuries in countries like India. Look it up. Public health ministers in India kicked out Bill Gates, stopped his vaccination program, all kinds of things. So basically, Monday, after our Sunday broadcast, the New York Post, which is frequently engaging in fake news publication, put out this article about a man who has been arrested for a plot to blow up Central Park's Alice in Wonderland statue. The article goes on to tell us that a 30-year-old Manhattan resident, guy named Kevin Fallon, who lives on the Upper West Side, was the bomb plotter, that he was captured in a midtown hotel. I don't know why you'd launch a bomb plot from a hotel if you lived closer to the statue in your apartment than you do from the hotel. Maybe he was trying to throw the cops off, who knows? But the bomb squad was apparently involved in this. And sources told the New York Post. So I guess the New York Post, they figure, they tell you it's a source, they don't want to reveal who the source is, and if you trust them, you trust their sources. I get it. Sometimes that needs to happen. In order for a news outlet to be trusted, though, they need to be giving you real news. And, the New York Post is publishing all kinds of things. They told us in 2018 that the NYPD bomb squad had relocated from their prior address at 233 10th Street. They had come over here to 241 West 26th Street, and that they were now putting their bomb squad vans in a parking garage here on 26th Street. People who watch the show are going to know that this is right around the corner from my apartment. This is 241 West 26th Street, and it doesn't look like a police station to me. This is a commercial parking lot within a building that fire. Do you work in the parking lot? Does the bomb squad have vans in here? Does the NYPD have a bomb squad van in here?
I don't know.
I can't go in there. I'm going to lose signal. Just ask him for me. Yeah. I find it difficult to imagine that the bomb squad would be keeping official NYPD vehicles in a commercial parking garage. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever parked their car in New York City, but you don't exactly have ready access to the vehicles. You can even see from here, the cars are, 2-3 deep. Sometimes it takes 10 or 15 minutes to get your car. You'd think the bomb squad would want to snap into action quickly. Why would the bomb squad move their vehicles here? I'm now going to reveal that Charles and I have a contact in NYPD. A source. I'm not going to reveal who it is, obviously, and this individual this morning has declined to appear on video or even give an official statement on the record with his name, because that's the way organizations like NYPD work. Hi.
Hello.
Do you work here?
Yes.
NYPD bomb squad keep vehicles in here?
No.
Did they ever?
Not yet.
2018?
No.
Did you know that the New York Post reported that your garage was the new home for the NYPD bomb squad? Why would they do that?
Why would they do that? They did. They were making application to store vehicles here.
The bomb squad
Yeah.
did, but they never put the vehicles
No,
there.
not yet.
So it's a little weird that the New York Post would report that the bomb squad keeps their vehicles here when they don't. That was after the Chelsea bombing on
Yeah.
23rd?
No,
Okay.
they made application. They took it through the community board
Uh-huh.
and through the city process.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. They still might store them here one day.
Aha.
Yeah.
But it hasn't happened
It
yet.
hasn't happened yet.
All right, thanks for that info.
Who are you reporting for?
Crowdsource the Truth on YouTube. Jason Goodman, that's me. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. So there we go. Now we got a little more information, a little bit better than what the New York Post was telling us. I'm going to reread that article. I was certainly led to believe that the bomb squad had vehicles there. Yes, we're live. Sound is fine. Good. Okay, so let's keep talking about the New York Post, because you see, I've done a lot of reporting on the New York Post. People who have heard my phone calls to Larry Salona. He's a pretty questionable guy, just in terms of the reporting that he's done. It's dubious. He was linked to that article just a few weeks ago that said that the makeshift morgue was outside Bellevue Hospital, which it is not. That makeshift morgue is outside NYU Langone, but more significantly, it's right outside the medical examiner's office. And when I called the public information officer for the office of the medical examiner, they said that that makeshift morgue was not filled with dead bodies, that it was being constructed as a standard procedural precaution and as a result of the president and the governor declaring a medical emergency. Now, the other thing that's very important is I spent a lot of time this morning trying to find information on this guy, Kevin Fallon, because it just seemed weird to me. Why would someone bomb such an inconsequential bronze statue? Can you even bomb a bronze statue? What would that do? It seems like it would just deflect off the statue and maybe injure people, but there's nobody in Central Park right now. So if you're a terrorist, don't you want to bomb, like, I don't know, something that has a lot of people in it, like a building with office workers, or maybe if you were a maniac, you'd bomb a hospital? Why would you bomb a statue? What's the point in that? And how is it that the New York Post comes up with this story one day after Charles and I go to that statue and talk about all these people who it seems like the New York Post is in the business of defending? Have any of the viewers who've recently come to Crowdsource the Truth seen the reporting that I did on the New York Post's ridiculous story about Ghislaine Maxwell eating an In-N-Out hamburger in Los Angeles? There's been a remarkable number of stories about In-N-Out hamburger. Hello, officers, how are you?
Great.
You guys are with the traffic division, huh? Has regular NYPD been stood down? I've seen a lot of traffic officers, but almost no regular NYPD officers
Oh, no,
around.
they're out there.
But there's a lot less than normal. Have they been stood down? You couldn't tell me even if they were, right? So there we go. Thanks very much. Have a nice day. Anyway, they did a lot of reporting about In-N-Out hamburger. Weird. I don't know if people are familiar with In-N-Out hamburger, but none of them exist in New York. The owners of that franchise, which was started, I think, in about 1947, the founder was a Canadian-born, naturalized U.S. citizen who grew up around the Santa Monica area, I think, in California. Definitely grew up on the West Coast over there. Joined the Army, the U.S. Army, World War II veteran. I think he had a perforated eardrum. I'm pretty sure that was him. He had some sort of, injury that prevented him from being in combat, gave him an office job. And I don't know, it just occurs to me that if you are a smart guy working in an Army office at the end of World War II, is there a moment where somebody from the OSS comes to you and says, hey, son, how would you like to serve your country after the war and join the CIA? I don't know if that happened. This is pure speculation. I don't know. But we've got this hamburger restaurant, which other people with experience in intelligence operations tell me is potentially useful to the CIA. The CIA likes to have these cutouts, these businesses that appear to be normal to the public, but they can do various things. They can transport trucks filled with hamburgers or French fries or whatever all over the country or all over the region there. Obviously, they're not coming east of Texas, I believe, but they got a large area of the country covered there as a cash business. So is there money laundering happening in cash businesses? I don't know. I'm not accusing In-N-Out Burger of any of this stuff, but it's interesting that when I called In-N-Out Burger and asked them the day after Ghislaine Maxwell was spotted at their restaurant if they were going to be turning over their surveillance footage to the FBI, and their media representative said to me, if the FBI asks for it, they'd give it to them, but they're protecting their customer's identity. And I was shocked. I said, wait a minute, the FBI hasn't contacted you? This woman has been accused of rape, pimping, being involved in creation of child pornography, and the FBI is not calling you right away that this woman is just hanging out, eating a hamburger? Why didn't the Los Angeles FBI descend on that joint and arrest her immediately? What's going on over there? And the thing that was super interesting is that after I published that phone call, the Assistant General Counsel, what was the guy's name? G. Allen. I'm going to have to look it up. I'm going to have to get back into this story because they were way more interested in threatening me with criminal prosecution and a civil lawsuit, which, by the way, G. Allen, I wish I could remember your last name. I'm pretty sure that's a bar violation. You're not allowed to threaten criminal prosecution in furtherance of a civil matter. So maybe I should write a letter to the California State Bar Association, but maybe it wouldn't matter. This issue of why is In-N-Out Burger more interested in protecting the privacy of a pedophile, accused pedophile, eating at their hamburger restaurant. They're more interested in prosecuting me and threatening me than getting to the bottom of what that woman was doing there. Now, In-N-Out Burger and the current owner, which is the daughter of the founder, who's now deceased, they've got some kind of foundation that's helping children and this and that. So you'd think they'd be particularly interested in revealing that. So what's up with the connection between the New York Post and In-N-Out Hamburger? I really don't know, but there seems to be one. I've spoken with Mike Moore quite a bit about this story that appeared a few weeks prior in In-N-Out Burger, where somebody found a beautifully intact In-N-Out hamburger on the street in Queens. Queens. Wait a minute. I wonder if that hamburger was found near Elmhurst Hospital. We're going to have to go back and look at that. Anyway, they did 3 stories on this hamburger. They followed up. It was found in the street. Then it was... So this is the site of Charles and I being attacked last week. We got a lot of threatening-looking people hanging outside there. We got one Amtrak police car. I don't see any NYPD. But, yeah. So 3 stories about the In-N-Out hamburger on the street. Strange tweets from a 16-year-old who came forward and said, I dropped the hamburger. We got this perfectly beautiful hamburger laying on the street. A friend of mine, who is a food stylist, said there's no way a hamburger is surviving a plane ride and landing out of somebody's backpack on the street like that without looking like a wreck. My friend, the food stylist, felt it was way more likely that somebody just took the paper from In-N-Out Burger, cooked a hamburger in Queens, and placed that on the street to create a photo opportunity. And the guy who happened to find it was a professional photographer, so I don't know if that happened or not, but it was certainly weird. So let's go back to the Alice in Wonderland story. That's also all about Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, the real pedophiles who we know about, people who have been accused directly of being involved in pedophilia. Bill Gates had a guy arrested at his house with child pornography. Why is there not an investigation into what the hell is going on with Bill Gates? I don't know. But it's really super interesting that this article came out in the New York Post.
I want some real food. Oh my God! All I asked for is
I don't know what's going on there. But we had this article come out the day after Charles and I are there, saying that there was a bomb plot for the day before. Now, is this actually news, or is this the second veiled threat against me in a week? And Charles, threat against Charles. I think it's a threat in that it wants us to see this article, think that there's bomb plots around, and presume that it's dangerous for us to go there. And as I am apt to do, I wanted to follow up and find out what's going on. Sorry, I forgot to add the source that I was talking about, that Charles and I have in the NYPD, who I will not reveal any more about than that. When I asked him if he saw the story, he said it was horse shite. That's what he said. So this is someone who would know about the activities of the NYPD and the bomb squad. And he tells me that he has reason to believe that it's not true. Just keep my eye on this guy, because anybody who I don't know who talks to me on the street, I don't trust very much. And frankly, anybody that you don't know, you shouldn't trust very much. You should be very skeptical of anything and everything that everyone says. Look at all these parked NYPD traffic vehicles here. The NYPD has been stood down. I am confident in that. So anyway, in an attempt to verify this story about our newfound friend Kevin Fallon, the bronze statue bomber, who apparently cooked up a plot that would surely put him in jail for the rest of his life, to bomb an inconsequential statue that has really no, patriotic national value, no symbolic value, very low likelihood of achieving the types of objectives that terrorist bombers usually like to achieve, which is maximum injury, maximum fear. It just seems stupid on its face. Now, the other interesting thing is that there's just not too many. Oops, hang on. How you guys doing? Can I talk to you for a second? Are you guys working at the Javits Center? No?
Excuse me?
Are you guys working at the Javits Center Hospital?
No, we just got here.
You're just on vacation?
Yeah. No, not vacation. We just got here to help them.
The Army sends you here to walk around and do nothing? Okay, thanks. So a lot of really vague information about that Javits Center Hospital. But I looked up this guy, Kevin Fallon. And although that's an extremely common name, he was described as a 30-year-old who lived on the Upper West Side. And there was only one person who fit that description. There's a couple different phone numbers associated with him. I subscribe to some of these, online databases that allow you. They're public information. You pay a nominal fee to access them, and you can find out people's phone numbers, their relatives, and stuff like that. It's interesting that none of the phone numbers associated with this guy, none of the phone numbers associated with his relatives, connected me to a working phone or a person answering. And I think people can tell from my track record of calling people, sometimes even people as important as Alan Dershowitz, I'm pretty good at finding people's phone numbers and finding out where they are. Nothing on this guy, Kevin Fallon. They did have an address on the Upper West Side for him, and not finding his phone number is not proof of anything other than he might have gotten a new phone more recently than that database has been updated, and the other numbers that led to voicemails or weren't answered could be the result of family members not wanting to take calls because their person was just in the news for attempting to bomb something, so that's possible. I tried to call the public information officer for the U.S. Attorney, the Department of Justice. That guy's super unhelpful, and basically all he's ever said to me is that he cannot confirm or deny that Epstein was choked out and everything else was no comment. But that guy's not helpful at all. So I called the court. Let's listen to that. I was wondering if you could confirm something that was published in the New York Post regarding an arraignment of a 30-year-old Kevin Fallon with regard to a plot to bomb the Alice in Wonderland statue in Central Park?
I cannot confirm anything. I do not know anything about that. Do you have a case number?
I'm trying to find the case number. This is reported in...
Hold on. What's the last name?
The last name of the suspect is Fallon, F-A-L-L-O-N. First name Kevin, K-E-V-I-N, 30-year-old resident of the Upper West Side that was allegedly arrested at a hotel in Midtown.
I'm sorry. Spell that last name one with me. F-A-L-L-O-N.
Right. F-A-L-L-O-N. That's the last name. Hello?
L-L-O-N. Yeah, hold on.
That was strange. Somebody cutting into the call there.
Yeah, there's nothing coming up on our ECF system with that name.
So that means he was not arraigned.
Not that I know of.
And you're the clerk of the court. You would know if somebody was arraigned.
If the court is empty, everybody's working from home. So we're waiting for emails from chambers, whoever's taking care of presentments. So if it did happen, we haven't received any paperwork yet from them.
Mm-hmm. And is that strange if he was arraigned on Monday and today is Thursday and you don't have the paperwork?
It's possible.
It's possible. Okay, so there are arraignments going on.
Yeah.
But you're laughing. Is it strange?
Does he have another name?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. So I don't. Accountant. We've been keeping up with the docketing, so I don't believe that we had a presentment with a defendant with that name.
You don't believe that Kevin Fallon was arraigned on Monday? They're saying he's being held at Rikers Island with a bail of $50,000 and his next court date will be July 13th, public records show, according to the New York Post, who, like you, I suspect is not reporting this accurately. Can you tell if he's being held at Rikers Island with $50,000 in bail?
No, I don't have access to that. If I were you, I would call the U.S. Attorney's Office.
I did. They didn't answer. And so can you tell if there's a court date for July 13th for him to appear in court for Kevin Fallon?
His name's not coming up in the system.
So there's no court date July 13th?
Yeah,
okay,
no.
Interesting. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, I mean, we've got the New York Post making reference to public records, sources. That was the clerk of the court at the criminal court here in the Southern District of New York, unaware of Kevin Fallon, saying there is no arraignment, there is no court date scheduled for 2013.
I don't want no money. I just want something, please. I don't got it right now. Yeah,
So, you ladies work for the NYPD Traffic Division, huh?
Yeah.
Why are there so few regular NYPD officers around? You two were just accosted by obviously a desperate, vulnerable individual. Citizens walking around are experiencing that nonstop. Where is the NYPD? Have they been stood down?
They're sick.
Everybody on the NYPD is sick?
Not everybody.
How did they get sick? They haven't been on the street since this started.
No, they have.
I haven't seen them.
Remember, it's spread.
Have you been tested for coronavirus? Did they shove a Q-tip down your throat? They did. You sure? What was the result?
Negative.
So they tested everybody on the NYPD? No, they tested you, but not you. How did they determine who to test?
Whoever has symptoms. If you have symptoms, you get tested. If
So
don't
you
have no
had symptoms
don't
and
get
you were
tested.
negative.
Yes.
When was that?
About a week ago.
And so many people on the NYPD had it, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
It's like 1,000 or so.
They got tested and they end up having positive. Remember, it spread so quickly. Remember, people don't clean their hands. People are dirty.
Oh, so that's why everybody is...
Exactly. But they're out and about. They're just mostly.
Hey, how you doing, guys? I wanted to know what time is it. If anyone has time.
The time?
Yeah.
12:54.
It's 12:54. Thank you.
All right, have a nice day, ladies.
Have a good day.
Anyway, so there we go with that. I thought that was a very important phone call with the clerk of the court, who has outright denied what the claims, what the New York Post has claimed in their, in my view, fake news article. I have come to the conclusion that that article was posted as a veiled threat to Charles and myself. We know that Rupert Murdoch, I should have had these images ready. We know that Rupert Murdoch was friends with Robert Maxwell, father of Ghislaine Maxwell, girlfriend and associate, accomplice, pimp of Jeffrey Epstein. So what the hell is going on there? Why do all these rich guys own newspapers? Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, where Jamal Khashoggi was allegedly a journalist, but he actually seems more like he's a jihadi, a mujahideen, terrorist. And when he got chopped up into bits, which I don't support the chopping up of people, but if you're going to get involved in coup plots, I think they say if you shoot for the king, you better make sure you kill. I think we need to look into Jamal Khashoggi's activities and his relationship with Al-Walid bin Talal, who, by the way, is business partners with Bill Gates. We need a lot more attention on Bill Gates, Rupert Murdoch, the New York Post, Bill Clinton, the WHO, Tedros Adhanom. The list goes on and on. Jeff Bezos. Why has there been no activity with regard to an investigation into insider trading, where we know Dianne Feinstein bought Amazon.com stock prior to us all finding out that every retail store in the world was going to close? Mike Moore of True Pundit tells us that Chi-Fi made $5 million on that stock. And the other thing I wanted people to take a look at is Mike Moore has put out his podcast just yesterday. It's available now for people who aren't sponsoring Mike on patreon.com/truepundit. You can see more pain on Crowdsource the Truth Tuesday nights if you're a sponsor. But Mike has put out a story, or rather a podcast. He's interviewed Robert Kennedy Jr., who's presented us with all kinds of evidence about Dr. Fauci trying to submarine research that indicated that vaccines related to HIV research were containing a virus from mice brains. They were developing this vaccine, they need living tissue for the virus to replicate on, and they found that the viruses from the mouse brains were giving people cancer. This is what Robert Kennedy Jr. is reporting. I found it remarkable that this sounds a whole lot like the story that Judith Very Baker has told us many, many times about her research as a college student working for Alton Ochsner. It's very windy, I apologize. Please don't give me suggestions about what to do with the microphone in the wind. We'll just wait till the wind stops. Judith Very Baker tells us that the original polio vaccine contained a virus called SV